Welcome to Our Girl Relationships. We talk about the problems people face in their day-to-day lives. Let's start with the video. I'm 37, female, been happily married to my husband, 39, male, for 9 years, and each year we seem to fall more in love. Over the course of our relationship, including the engagement and our marriage, I have tried hard to get close with my mother-in-law, who seems more cordial to me than friendly. It started 5 years ago when we were able to build our dream home, spending a lot of money on it during the building process. My husband's parents got divorced around the time we started building our dream home, and for some reason, my mother-in-law felt slighted about how much money was going into it. After that, I noticed she was giving me the shoulder when he bought me a brand new car on my birthday 4 years ago. After that, I seem to catch her ire anytime he buys me an expensive gift and makes it seem as if those gifts should go to her, not me. Because she no longer has my husband's father buying her gifts, she's seeming to expect my husband to step in and spoil her. He does do well with spending a lot of money on her for holidays and birthdays, but that's about it. Because I'm his wife, he feels that he should splurge more on me and that his mother didn't have a problem with it until she got divorced. We currently don't have any children, and so we're able to travel a lot and go on vacations together, something else she's been bothered about lately. After a while, she starts lecturing him about how we need to save money and stop spending so much. Even though we have the kind of careers that allow us to spend as freely as we'd like, pretty soon she started spending more money on herself as a way of trying to keep up with me. If I got new earrings, then the following week she'd come visit our home wearing the same pair. If I bought a new dress, she tried to buy one that's more expensive from the same brand. I explained how weirded out by all this I was to my husband, and he even agreed that his mother was taking things too far. The funny thing is that she's blatantly doing these things, but acting as if she's getting away with whatever she's doing. It wasn't until my husband finally called her out one day after she had bought the same car he had bought me, and then complained about how much the payments on the car would be. He told her that if she wasn't frivolously spending money on things she didn't even want, she wouldn't be in this financial predicament now. She got in a mood over it, and she didn't call or come over for like a few weeks, which was pleasant for me. Then, finally, we all came together for a family gift exchange, and my husband gifts me with one of the most beautiful diamond necklaces I've ever seen. As he's helping me put it on so I can try it on, my mother-in-law flies into a rageful fit and asks my husband why did he buy her a cheap perfume but go all out for me. The perfume he had bought her had actually cost a lot of money, and he pointed that out, with also pointing out that he had bought her an expensive purse as well. But she didn't care and kept complaining about my necklace and how she was tired of him doing more things for me but not for her. My brothers-in-law, husband's older and younger brothers, are trying to calm my mother-in-law and were telling her how she was blowing this out of proportion, which made her angrier. After that, she stormed out and didn't speak to anyone for a month after that. Like she seriously gave all of her children and grandchildren, my husband's brother's children, the cold shoulder and would ignore phone calls because of how mad she was. After that, everyone stopped calling her since she wasn't picking up, and she got upset over it. She then sends messages in the family group chat about how everyone is icing her out and not checking on her, how she lives alone now and she could have easily fallen in the middle of the night, not be able to get up. And then she would have been just laying on the floor, harmed and with no way to get to the hospital because no one was coming over to check on her. It would have been comical if it wasn't so ridiculous about how she was trying to guilt trip everyone over not calling her or coming to her house to check on her, when that's what everyone had been doing until they got tired of her ignoring them. She then pitches a fit because she found out that the other day we had gone out to eat with my father-in-law and then accused her own children of picking sides during a time when the divorce was still a fresh pain for her. And then, if that wasn't the worst of it, she said that this all started because everyone wanted to baby me and go against her when she was just pointing out how my husband favors me over her. She accused everyone of taking my side and treating her like the bad guy, which wasn't how everyone had gone down. After that, she went back to ignoring everyone, and we just let her be because we had gotten exhausted at this point from fighting with her constantly. My husband just told me to not engage in any arguments with her if she tried to provoke me into one. A few days ago, it had been my husband and I's 9-year anniversary, and for it, we had decided to renew our vows and even arrange for the bridal party from our first wedding to wear certain colors and designs. Of course, I was going to wear white and wanted to wear an upgraded version of my original wedding dress. My husband had spoken to my mother-in-law and told her that he would love for her to be a part of our big day, but if she was going to have an attitude, to please not come. When she expressed interest in attending our big day, he gave her details about the location, what everyone was wearing, things like that. The day before our anniversary, I got a call from my brother-in-law, husband's younger brother, about how he found out my mother-in-law is going to spitefully show up in all white in order to outshine me. I immediately tell my husband, and he's so upset. He almost pushed back the anniversary until I decided it was time to get even with her. I told my husband that we had been smart to have a lot of different dresses and suits on backup in case anything happened to the outfits decided on. We called everyone in the wedding party and told them that they were instead going to wear all white, including my husband. Some of the backup outfits had been white, a color I had originally decided on months ago before switching it to a royal blue. That following day, the renewing of the vows took place, and my mother-in-law had timed her arrival to be late so that she could make a grand entrance in her white dress. When she stepped into the chapel, she was stunned to see that everyone was wearing white, and she looked embarrassed. Thankfully, she took her seat and didn't cause a stir by allowing the renewal to take place without an issue. It wasn't until the renewal reception that she decided to pull me aside and accuse me of trying to both upstage and embarrass her. She said that I was wrong for doing this to her and that I didn't deserve a good man like my husband. AITA for making the bridal party wear white when I found out my mother-in-law was going to, in order to upstage me. My mother-in-law has now been groveling for the past 2 weeks after our anniversary, trying to get back into my husband's good graces after he told her off at the wedding reception. She's even gone out of her way to bake my pies and make sure to compliment anything I wear whenever she sees me. It's kind of strange because she's never even been this friendly towards me, even when she was nicer to me before my father-in-law divorced her. My husband actually finds all of this funny and tells me to enjoy it while it lasts because he doesn't trust she'll continue being this nice for long. In a way, it's actually nice because I never like when the atmosphere in our home becomes tense. Just because I speak up when there is static in a situation doesn't mean that I always want to be involved in pointless drama that can simply be avoided. My husband may not have faith in my mother-in-law continuing to behave, but I am hoping that she does so that I don't deal with any more unnecessary stress. I'm writing with an unexpected update on how things have been going. My mother-in-law is actually being nice to me, and it's all genuine. What took place was my husband decided to finally have this big talk with both of his parents. We're trying to figure out, was it the divorce that had my mother-in-law behaving this way? My mother-in-law confessed that instead of taking time to grieve the demise of her marriage, she just turned all of her attention into expecting royal treatment from my husband. I guess she expected my husband to pity her, and she became upset when he continued to treat me as he's always done. She felt that my husband was putting me before her in his life, and he explained to my mother-in-law that she literally didn't care when she and my father-in-law were still married. My husband then told her he doesn't think it's fair that my mother-in-law expects him to stop pampering me just because his father no longer pampers her. And my father-in-law said he had asked for a divorce because he felt that my mother-in-law didn't care for him anymore, because she'd always act cold towards him. But seeing the way she's behaving after divorce proves that maybe he was wrong. My in-laws are now taking slow steps towards reconciliation, and it's kept my mother-in-law out of my hair for now. Ha ha ha, no, you are NTA for making everyone wear white. It serves your mother-in-law right for trying to ruin your anniversary day, and instead she became the one to be embarrassed. I applaud your husband for having your back during the entire monster in-law situation, and the way he held her accountable for everything she was doing against you is admirable. If your mother-in-law was treating your father-in-law coldly to the point he ended their marriage, hopefully she learns her lesson to better appreciate him if they do get back together. My husband, 30, male, and me, 26, female, have been together for 7 years. We have a great relationship majority of the time. We recently got married and we even have a 4-year-old child together. I must mention that I suffer from frequent migraines, and maybe I get a fever probably once or twice a year when the weather breaks. Every time that I'm sick, so is my husband. Every migraine, he's miraculously sick and has to stay home. Sometimes it almost feels like a competition about who is the worst off. An example of this is when I had keyhole surgery at the start of this year to remove a very large ovarian cyst that had twisted my ovary. It was relatively a traumatic experience and one of the worst pains I had ever experienced. Yet, my husband could not allow me to be the only one suffering. Suddenly, he was feeling weak and could barely stand. Yet the day after I returned home from my surgery, he made a miraculous recovery and was going to football training as if nothing happened. However, then proceeded to get unwell straight after training had finished. I did call him out on this, but he said he did not want to discuss it as he cannot help feeling how he feels. Another memory that sticks out is that I remember when my little one was a newborn. I got mastitis, which came with a fever due to infection. Then suddenly, my husband was sick and was bedridden, so he was unable to take care of little one, just in case he gave his illness to her. I just accepted this and got on with it. However, today was the final straw. I had woken up with a migraine and called into work sick. I intended to sleep all day and to just rest. However, my husband rang me every hour to tell me that he is unwell and that he thinks he should come home. My husband was completely fine until I informed him that I was sick and not actually going into work. This time, I actually ended up losing it with him. I said that I need some space as I need to rest. So if he is unwell, then he can go to his parents to rest and come home when he feels better. I also called him out on always saying he is sick when I am. My husband got really upset with me about all of this and told me that I am being really insensitive, as he cannot help being unwell at the same time as me, and that I am childish to think that he would say that. he is unwell just because I am. He also said that as he feels we do not spend as much time together as we did before we had a child, he finds this is the best time to do so as we are at home without the little one. I told him that I like to be by myself when I was unwell. And he said that that was selfish and ended the call. I tried to ring him back when I calmed down, but he is now ignoring my calls. Of course, I can understand people can be sick at the same time, but it is every time I am sick. I feel bad as I really did go in on him. I do not know if I'm being a petty a-hole for getting so worked up about this, when maybe all he wants to do is spend time with me and I should be grateful. NTA. He might have a psychosomatic reaction to you being sick, meaning he actually does feel sick, but he doesn't have anything. In which case, he should get professional help to work on that. But to be honest, it just sounds like he can't stand you being in the weaker position in the relationship, which implies he would be taking care of you if he was a good partner, and does this deliberately. The fact he let you deal with a small baby while having a fever from mastitis, I had it and I know how painful it can be, tells me he simply wants to make sure he's always in the position of the one being taken care of, or at the very least, excused from taking care of you. He's an AH, one way or the other. Don't apologize and don't give in. When he stops the childish behavior of freezing you out, demand to have a proper conversation about this with him, and for him to seek help if he actually believes he's sick every time you are. NTA. He very obviously isn't getting sick at the same time as you every single time for years, including specific problems to women only. It sounds like he's got a form of factitious disorder, seeking attention by pretending to be sick. You need to talk to him about this, as there is literally no way he has all the same symptoms you do, including surgery and an infection from breastfeeding. He's also trying to gaslight you on this, so again, a serious discussion needs to be had. I, 34 female, have 2 siblings, Josie, 37 female, Krista, 33 female. Josie has 3 kids, 16 male, 13 female, 10 female, and Krista has 2 kids, 4 male, 2 male. My husband, 34 male, and I are high school sweethearts, together 17 years and do not have kids. Not for lack of trying, but because of medical reasons, sadly. However, we absolutely adore our nieces and nephews. However, because we don't have children, my husband and I are often left out, unintentionally, I'm sure, or forgotten when it comes to events, trips, invites, etc. Most often, it's my mom that forgets to tell us about anything going on. Then, when she casually brings up what her and my sisters and kids have planned, I'll say something like, "Thanks for letting us know," or "Thanks for the invite." And she'll, of course, apologize, and I don't know it's sincere, but it happens so often it hurts. She spends hundreds of dollars on both sisters, and their kids see both families all the time, but can't manage to call or visit when my husband has a serious medical procedure or transplant rejection issue. My family started talking about going on a trip for Halloween this weekend coming up. It was supposed to be my parents, Krista and her family, my 10-year-old niece and myself. Josie, 16, male, 13, female, decided to stay back for personal reasons, and my husband is not going for personal reasons also. Last week, my mom tells me that she doesn't think she will be going anymore. She was diagnosed with cancer 2 months ago and has started her chemo pills at treatment. I completely understand her not wanting to go. It just made me sad because she just went on a trip up north, rode segways, went to the gardens, parks, etc. But again, I understand that she is dealing with her side effects. However, In her next breath, she tells me she's planning on going on vacation Halloween weekend with Krista to do the exact same thing we had planned to do, but at another location. Once she said this, I asked to verify. Oh, so you're going with Krista to do? And she said, yeah. I was upset. I asked her how she could manage to do that activity with Krista, but not with me, if she was dealing with her side effects. Neither I or my husband were invited to go with them. Her response, it's different. My dad says, honey, tell her how it's different. She had no response. I told my mom I was sympathetic to what she was going through, but I didn't appreciate her once making me feel like she cared more for my sister than me, bailing on me and using her cancer as the reason to cancel with me, but still going with Krista. I left shortly after and haven't spoken to her since. AITA for being upset that my mom bailed on me again, even though she has cancer and is dealing with side effects. NTA, here is the thing. Make sure you do enough that you won't ever feel guilty for not having been there for her cancer. Whatever that amount is, only you can know. Outside of that, it is time to accept, though it is painful, that your presence just isn't necessary to or even wanted by them. Act accordingly by finding things for your spouse and self to do. Use social media, friendships, neighborhood stuff, whatever, to have your own calendar events. It can be hard, especially at first. And leave that family stuff behind. Sometimes people just won't let you be a part of things. And once you've tried explaining to them what is happening and how it hurts in a mature way, there isn't much else you can do. You tried. NTA, not even close. This is a pattern that predates cancer, and you have every right to be hurt. Sorry you have